Hard work, work.
Hard work, that's what they say.
Hard work, work.
Hard work, I earn my pay.
Hard work, work.
Hard work, do it every day.
Work, work.
Hard work, that's what they say.
Castle, the sailors, the U.S. Navy Sailors Podcast. All right. We welcome you. I'm your host, D. LaMonica, along with my co-host, as usual. We got Velvet Love in the house, and we got Hirsch Terrell. Unfortunately, Marlon Brooks was feeling under the weather, so he'll join us next time. So how's everybody doing today?
Hello. Doing lovely. Happy to be here.
Hey, good. Another day
to talk about some Navy stuff. Everything Navy, that's what we do. We talk about Navy, and soon we'll be going live to talk with actual shipmates of ours and their experiences in the Navy as well. So stay tuned for that. And again, welcome to the show. All right. And as usual, we're going to start off with Scuttlebutt News. And this one right here really stuck a nerve, really got to me right here. All right. This story right here. Bed bugs, brown water, squatters. Military barracks blasted over horrid living conditions, lack of accountability. When I saw that, I also saw a video of President Biden giving such and such millions of dollars to Ukraine. And then I saw this story and I was like, you got to be kidding me. So let me read a little bit for you. Military barracks with plumbing so bad in the entire building smelled of methane and water so disgusting it wasn't considered safe to drink. Those were among the findings by the Government Accountability Office after it visited 12 military installations to examine the living conditions of troops in base housing. The watchdog agency published the conditions in a scathing new report confirming complaints made by many service members for years. The nearly 100-page report was rife with examples of substandard conditions. Pests such as bed bugs and roaches were a common issue at 6 of the bases that the GAO visited. Several bases had several issues with security in the buildings to the point that service members said that they were unable to lock their doors at night and squatters had moved in. The GAO concluded that leaders at the Pentagon are not only failing to provide oversight, instead choosing to largely punt the issue to the branches, but they also don't consider it a priority. Oh gosh. The result has been bureaucratic finger pointing with no one office or leader willing to own the issue. Now, when I continue reading the story, and I remember we was making fun of Russia and not providing for their troops, and look at us here at this point right here. We can't provide adequate housing for our troops. And this is all across the services. Y'all got anything to go on mention about that?
It's a very bad look for us because we tout ourselves being the world's greatest military, and something as far as quality of life services we can't even keep up with. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be a contractor that's going to probably get this contract to do something that we could be doing ourselves, saving money. But yeah, this doesn't make sense. It shouldn't even get to that level, because if we can maintain equipment, well, we can't maintain where you sleep and lay your head at night. Yeah.
And my thing is, usually each base got a CB detachment, and that's what they do. They basically can go into a port overseas anywhere and build something. And I don't understand why they don't got the CBs working on these buildings. If they on shore duty, why they ain't got them doing the buildings?
Some bureaucracy. Somebody's got a contract to maintain these buildings, and if the CBs take care of it, that doesn't benefit anybody's pocket.
Exactly. Continuous misery. The 12 military installations visited by the GAO are not named in the report. The agency spoke with service members and leaders in discussion groups. The report says the sample size is small and generalized to all military installations, but that it offers important information on what troops experience. Relevant sites make for grim reading. At 5 different bases, service members told investigators that they had problems with water quality in the barracks, with one group reporting that their water is often brown and doesn't appear safe for drinking. One base had to shutter a barracks building because its plumbing had become a breeding ground for Legionella, the bacteria that can cause Legionnaire's disease. Oh my gosh, a condition that kills 1 in 10 people affected. When investigators asked about other barracks on the base, officials said that they didn't run water tests on them because they were not required to do so. And then, they when they did the tests on these bases, when the actual military did the test, they say, "Oh, you passed with a flying score, 90%." 90%. I mean, they got squatters in there, bed bugs.
I'm telling you, I feel like what is the difference between the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex? I'm seeing too many similarities here. I feel like we need to be taking better care of our people. This is a long record. I know that you two can testify to some conditions you have lived through, been through, and seen and knew this is not safe. And yet here I am every day eating this and breathing this, and it's not okay. And it hasn't gotten better. Sounds like it's getting worse. I don't recall having to deal with bed bugs in my career, but I'm not surprised to hear this report. This is the same thing that's happening in Fulton County, where Trump just had his mugshot taken. They had a guy who passed away who was eaten alive by bed bugs, very literally, just a couple of weeks ago. And now this is happening in the military barracks. I feel that these are the topics that need to be spoken on, and this is why you cannot even throw money at people and get them to join because of reports like this.
Exactly. And if the active duty people are getting treated like this, oh my gosh, us veterans, oh my goodness, what are we in for? Oh my gosh. And look at this. Look what I highlighted. It was not a priority. How conditions in the barracks were allowed to deteriorate is partially the result of the military's hodgepodge of evaluation systems, metrics, and standards, which has made it difficult for leaders to know how bad conditions truly are in some locations. Like I was telling you, its condition score was above 90, according to the service documentation. All right. Each service gets to decide how often to have the barracks assessments. So the most frequent is every 3 years, and the longest is every 10 years. 10 years? Oh my goodness. And this is crazy. And it goes down. The Pentagon standards for barracks room are minimal, broadly mandating that service members have between 72 and 90 square feet of space per person, no more than two to a bedroom, and there be a food preparation area. There are no health or safety requirements that prevent installations from assigning service members to live in substandard barracks rooms. Can you believe that? These the people who are in charge of protecting us, and they treat them like prison, like you said, like they treat them like inmates. That's ridiculous. Like they don't care. The
I hear
Pentagon. Go ahead.
I, I'm taken aback by the shock I hear in your voice. Were you privileged and never saw this before?
You know, when they used to have barracks over in a Portsmouth, and when you was on the ship, and if they didn't have like a ship that was going in the yards or that needed a barracks, you can go over there and rent them like a hotel room. I remember those barracks were like, maybe all you had to do was pay like 12, $15. I'm serious, a night. Well, I was like, man, give me this for the whole month. I'm serious. And that was cool. It was a cool place. Now, the ones that were on Portsmouth were really nice. They were fairly new on that, because they built up the Portsmouth area. Now, they had some other ones that, you had a roach here and there crawl in, but shoot, I was happy to be off the ship. So I never really looked at it that way. But these ones they're talking about, I never experienced, a bad barracks before, but, so that's why I'm like, are you serious? However, when I was I believe on the Cape St. George, not the Cape, on the Peterson, where we was decommissioning, they put us in the barracks room. And I remember those were the same barracks that I was in on my first ship. And I was like, okay, these bad boys need a little work, a little rundown. Yeah, they needed some work. So they were eventually, and those barracks rooms on Norfolk base, they had actually shut some of them down because they had gotten so bad. They were shutting them down, but they were uh, actually had construction going on and building. When I was retiring, building some new ones. So I'm not surprised that eventually they got ran down. And as you read through this story, they actually said it wasn't a priority. I mean, they actually said that. It
That's what
took
hurt. That's what hurts my feelings. How is this not a priority when we have? There's no agency in the world with a bigger budget than the military. Barracks and how we live is not a priority. Like,
Congress has also been made aware of the issue over the years, yet major investments in quality of life improvements for troops continue to take a backseat to other issues such as weapons procurement, contractors, and on Capitol Hill. In 2022, despite a string of housing scandals, including one that was linked to a spate of suicides, the Navy told Congress that it was prioritizing other construction goals, namely shipyards, instead of barrack repairs or upgrades. We can't really talk about Russia anymore. I mean,
They're the
I
bad
mean,
guys.
I was like, we supposed to be the greatest military in the world, and here we are with this report right here saying that we're not even taking care of our troops at the stage. There she go.
Yeah, I think a big part of this too is it's I don't want to say lack of knowledge, but somebody's lobbying for those standards. Because when the instruction or the I guess the normalcy of running a barracks went into play, no one put these are the standards that we need to maintain so that this doesn't cost us money in the long run. So part of it is sailors or airmen, whoever need to start need
I
to
hit the
start
wrong button.
need to start petitioning their local senators, because we do have a right as military people to speak to our Congress people, and we should bring those problems to their attention so that when they vote on some of these meetings, if no one knows that there's a problem, I got all this other stuff to worry about. But now if I have X amount of active duty or veterans writing my office, then when we have the next caucus meeting for whatever caucus people are on, then we can say, hey, why are people complaining that they can't sleep at night? Why are they complaining about? So then it could be brought to these decision making people's attention to fix it, because they don't want to get blasted by a congressman.
Yes, always political, always political, playing these games and these guys over here suffering. Look at that picture. That's disgusting. Oh my gosh. I hope nobody living there. I hope nobody's living there. But that was the scuttlebutt news. That was the only one I really wanted to focus on, was this bed bugs, brown water, and squatters in the military barracks. The people that protect our country are living in these conditions. No one should live in these conditions. Even inmates shouldn't live in conditions like this. I mean, if you look overseas and you look at their inmates over there, they living like, they live like, what they want is they want their people to live like what society is living like. And so they make their prisons like society. And our military is not living up to the standards that they should be living in. I'm telling you that right now. And that sickens me, the way they being treated like that. That shouldn't be happening. But
yeah,
that go ahead. Go
what
ahead.
what would you blame this on? What would you say is the problem and what could be fixed? I feel that one big issue is when we downsized many years ago, we never did recover from it. We never did recover from getting rid of so many great people and then trying to beg them back in. And conditions seem to just have rapidly deteriorated. What would you all say?
Yes,
And I think
good point.
that you know what? When I on my first ship, shore duty was basically not civilians, but it's all Navy people. The Navy people were ticketing your cars. There was show patrol out there bringing you back to the ship. I used to see the CBs line up, and they used to go out through the base, and they used to work on the base all over the place. Everybody that went from the ship they went to SIMA, Short Intermediate Maintenance Facility. It's called something else, Marmac, I believe. And everything was handled by the sailors themselves. What that did was that increased your knowledge about, certain different occupations. It probably increased your knowledge in the rate you were working in, and it gave you a short duty rotation. But you correct, when they downsized, they it messed up everything. So most of that stuff is dealt into the hands of civilians, mostly veterans that are working there as well. But there's no sailors in that particular area right now. And now, as you see with this China and Russia, this China navies ramping up their amount of ships. Now we're behind trying to catch up with them, and we're in a space now where, I mean, they're going to miss their goal by 7,000. I mean, when we go into recruiting, and Marlon here and Brooks is here, we could go on a lot in that. Oh man, we got a lot of discussion recruiting. But yeah, now they need people now. I mean, they need people bad, because now they want to ramp up. It's almost like a Cold War, not a Cold War, but a Cold War, because they want to ramp up. They want to put all these ships out here. They say, hey, we got all these ships, we got a strong Navy, and they got to counter China all over the place with all these different fleets they got. But yeah, that downsize was a killer, and I dislike that to the fullest. And that's was one of the reasons. It was like, when I was on my first ship, as Senior Chief Jones was my department LCPO. He was department LCPO for engineering, and I was like, he's all sat in the engineering log room in his khakis. Me not knowing, I was like, man, this dude sitting in the log room all day, not doing that. That's what I want to do, not knowing, this guy got the weight of the world on his shoulders, right? Being the department LCPO, but I was like, that's what I want to do. And then when I finally made department LCPO, we had downsized so much. I never seen Senior Chief Jones pick up a wrench. He was always in his khakis. And then we had downsized so much, I had to actually pick up a wrench and start working. And we ain't had enough cheese. We ain't had enough seconds, and I was like, man, this is crazy, man. Times has changed. But you was right, man. That downsize killed us. And now we got to ramp back up. And it's going to be hard, very hard to get people with stories like this. Stories like this, are you kidding me? They don't want to. People see stories like this, and that turns them off. But anybody got anything else on this horrible situation that's facing the military today?
I feel like Terrell was going to respond. Y'all want to say
you got
Terrell?
You were saying what I think caused this. More so, it's a lack of one is care and a disconnect of the generations, because Admiral is not walking around the barracks.
No.
Full board captain is not walking around the barracks. But if an officer's quality of life is impacted, then we gotta do all stop and correct it. So part of it is there's no grading criteria, no one's eval to make sure this is good. There's no grading criteria on somebody else's evaluation to say, hey, is the barracks good? Even if it's like a second class petty officer responsibility to make sure their floor is good, they would make sure it's good, because that's a standard that we're setting for them for their evaluation. So it's like, if there's no incentive in there, no one cares, or there's no profit margin, no one cares.
Exactly. Well, I hope and pray they get that together, so those sailors' quality of life, not just sailors, but the entire military's quality of life, is made a whole lot better than what it is right now in those barracks rooms, because that is terrible and disgusting. All right, so moving on.
Hard work, that's what they say.
Hard work,
Hard work, I earn my pay.
hard work,